I need your clothes, boots, and vehicle. Hasta la vista, baby. Hello YouTube, LJ Draco here. Yes, today is, as you can tell, Wednesday's review of Terminator Genisys 3D. Sorry about the intro, very terrible impressions. Arthur, I hope it made you happy though. After this video there will be some more Schwarzenegger impressions, but they would be very terrible. As you can tell by the intro, they're not that great. Uh, Instead of wearing the big leather jacket that's actually not big, it's quite small and makes me feel uncomfortable, I thought for this video I'd wear another big metal badass. But basically, let's just get into this. So, Arthur asked me would I do a more detailed review based on this movie, and as you know, my reviews are usually 5 minutes about the movie and the rest about the 3D Blu-ray itself. So what I thought I'd do is I'll do 5 minutes about the movie, but it'll be a more in-depth 5 minutes than it usually is. But what I'll do is I'll get the cast over and done with, and then I'll start the 5 minute review. That way you get 5 minutes dedicated to the actual review. We get Jason Clarke as the future John Connor, Emilia Clarke as Sarah Connor, Arnold Schwarzenegger as the T-800 Pops, Jai Courtney as Carl Reese, Matt Smith as Alex, and Brian Hunley as the Liquid Terminator. So let's just get on with this. Basically, let's get us through. So, but we start off with we're in the future, and Kyle Reese is doing a narration over the. Kyle Reese is basically doing the narration of the movie to begin with, explaining that he was born after Judgment Day. So, you know, he hasn't seen the world after, like, beyond that point. So he grew up with Skynet taking over and destroying the world and what have you. And as a boy, he goes down to this like sewers, and he finds this dog, and this Terminator covered in skin finds him, and all you see is an adult John Connor busts down and starts killing the Terminator, saves Kyle Reese's life. What happens is John Connor tells the resistance that's fighting against the Terminators and against Skynet to find a secret weapon hidden in their base. But basically, if you skip on ahead, as you know, this movie links other than the third Terminator, other than Rise of the Machines, it links the first two to this one, to Genisys. And what happens is they just sent back the T-800 to go after Sarah Connor, and Kyle Reese, as you know, in the first movie has to follow. But what happens is the timeline changed. I'm not going to tell you how, because if you've seen the movie, you'll know. But if you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil too much. But the timeline's changed. So while the T-800's gone back in time, we get a much older Terminator, aka Pops, who's come now to face the younger Terminator. Yeah, and I like how they try to make his aging work with the movie. It's like, oh well, they cover the Terminators in aging skin, so it all works. Way to save Schwarzenegger's Terminator career, guys. Oh, they cover his skin still ages. It's realistic skin. It's just yeah. Okay, let's just keep it. But basically, what happens is Sarah Connor already knows everything, because Pops went back in time to when she was younger, because they decided to send the Terminator to when she was much younger than they did in the original film to try and kill her, but Pops saved her and started looking after her. So that's pretty good. But Sarah Connor knows, so she ends up saving Kyle Reese, because they end up bumping into... Because they end up bumping into Liquid Terminator. He also comes back in time to way before John Connor's even born to come after Sarah Connor. And they've got a guy, as I mentioned, a Brian Hunley, who looks like a Chinese version of the guy that played Liquid Terminator. They tried to make him look so much like him. Fair play for trying to hire an actor that looks exactly like the guy. I'll put pictures up so you know who the original guy is and who the new guy is. They look very similar, other than Brian Hunley has darker hair. So what happens is they have to go back into the future now. Sarah Connor believes they got to go to 1997, I think it was. And Kyle says, no, 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 look, I got a message. When I was coming back in time, I got a message from a young kid saying, Genisys starts, like Skynet takes over when Genisys ends, like, and Genisys reaches zero, right, which happens in 2017. So they now have to go all the way to 2017. Yeah, Arthur, I'm trying my best, mate. I'm trying. All right, let's just stop delaying. Let's get through. Okay, basically, so they're in 2017, but they end up on a bridge. So they get caught by the police, and the police don't believe anything they say. They run the prints for Kyle Reese, and they say, "Oh, look, it's weird because you're actually a 12-year-old boy. So why have you got Kyle Reese's DNA? Your fingerprints are exactly the same. This must be really weird." And all we see is the future John Connor walks into the room, which surprises Kyle Reese. Because there's an incident that happens where Kyle Reese thought he'd never see that John Connor again. But what happens is Pops comes into the police station with a shotgun behind a teddy bear. Classic from Judgment Day. When he walks through the supermarket with the box of roses. Remember that scene? It's cool. But basically, yeah, so he comes out, sees John Connor, and shoots him. And then starts strangling Kyle Reese. Which is actually quite funny. Now, if you don't know who the guy who plays Kyle Reese is, he plays Captain Boomerang in Suicide Squad. But this is when he was more skinny and less muscly. Yeah, so Pops is strangling him, and John Connor gets back up. It turns out that John Connor, when there was an accident that happened in the future before Kyle actually teleported back in time to the original timeline, John Connor was attacked by a new kind of Terminator. This one he's not liquid, and he's not a T-800 model. He's like made of beads, and he can take over human DNA, and it can replicate memories and thoughts. So it's pretty much a human version of a Terminator. So this one actually has feelings, emotions, the most realistic killing machine possible. And they find out that John Connor is part of that now. Do you know what, Arthur? I'm gonna end it there. I know this review seemed a bit all over the place, but I'm gonna have to end it because there are people that haven't seen it. I don't want to spoil way too much. That for me, what I've already told is already enough. Let me just explain. I don't really care about scores and stuff like that, but Hans Zimmer done the score for this movie, and I don't usually pay attention to the music behind the scenes. But in fairness, without this music, these scenes would have seemed really boring. Let's just get into the 3D, guys. Now it's a widescreen. As you guys know, I have some good luck with widescreen, but I also have some bad luck. And Terminator Genisys is definitely a one that I will keep on the shelf. The reason the actual movie reviews all over the place, and the reason I couldn't talk too much about it, is because as a movie, it tried to kind of do what X-Men did. It was trying to make up for it was trying to reattach itself to the first two movies, which were perfect, forgetting Salvation and totally forgetting Rise of the Machines. And it was trying to replace that as a third movie. If you know what I'm trying, it was trying to take over as the trilogy, as the final third movie. It was trying to take over and replace it. For me, that's where they went wrong. Because they tried to do it, it didn't work out as well. The acting was great. I can admit that. The acting was quite great. But it just seemed like it was trying too hard to be a third movie, and it didn't work out so well. But it was enjoyable. I probably will watch it again. The 3D is awesome. It's got a great style of in-depth. It's got a nice level of pop-out. It's only noticeable in, like, I'd say 80% of scenes. There are about 20% of scenes where you don't really notice any 3D at all. But the 80% of 3D is perfectly enough fine on its own. It was brilliant. I did like the casting choices. Other than, if you notice, Emilia Clarke's American accent was slightly fading. But in the end, British people trying to do American accents, it is a very difficult struggle. Trying to keep it up for long enough is much harder than it seems. But I'll give them credit. They're all great actors. They all done a phenomenal job. Arthur, like I said, I'm so sorry if you don't like the review. I wish I could have done more for it. but I did like it. It was okay. It seems like a cheesy action sci-fi that I can watch when I just want to watch something cheesy and action-fied. So I do like the idea of that, but I'm sorry if this was not what you expected. I know you wanted in-depth, you wanted characters, and the most I can say is Jason Clarke's the guy who, from Everest and from the Death Race with Jason Statham. Emilia Clarke is obviously Khaleesi from Game of Thrones. She's also in a romance film called Me Before You. Jai Courtney, as I said, is Captain Boomerang. Matt Smith was Doctor Who. I do not know who Brian Hunley is. I'm sorry, I have no idea who that guy is. But they chose some great actors for this movie. It was great. J.K. Simmons made an appearance as a police officer, and who doesn't love J.K. Simmons in a movie? But other than that, I can't see myself talking about this one as much as you would have liked me to. That's the most I could say about it. I'm so sorry. I hope that you do still like this review. But because it's because I couldn't do the review all the way, I did quite a few Arnold impressions. They're all terrible, but I've done them for after this bit. So anyway, that is the end of the review. I hope you do enjoy this. If you did, please show your support by clicking that subscribe button down below. And don't forget to strike the like for future videos. And I will see you in a minute for the impressions. Who said you could eat all of my cookies? Put that cookie down, now! I have a shiny red ball. Want to try it? You are one ugly motherfucker. Get to the chopper! Dylan, you son of a bitch. Who said you could eat all the lunches? You thought I was the real Quaid? You're right. You hit like a vegetarian. Sarah Connor. Milk is for babies. When you grow up, you have to drink beer.